video that does a slightly better job of showing you one way to create a diptych, synchronized diptych. And so what I've done here is I've created a 4K sequence, 380/40 by 2160. It's 30 frames a second. Just standard, you can set yours to whatever you want. But let's just kind of stick with 4K for now. What I have here is a sequence of images. These are all 10 seconds long here, and they're all in 4K. And what we're going to do here is we're going to create two synchronized videos that are going to be exported each individually as one 4K video and another 4K video. They're precisely synchronized, so a certain thing happens at a certain time and they end at the same time. Okay, so that's the goal, and then we're going to export those as individual movies, but we want to edit them, seeing them back and forth side by side. In a way, this is kind of like a glorified picture-in-picture kind of thing, side by side. So let's just get into it. So these are just images I grabbed online. You can I took them, and if you want to make something that is so I'm at 40 seconds right now. I can go to 50 seconds, 50, and then my cursor's there. I can just drag that and it snaps. Snapping is on, and that's how I got it to be exactly that time length. Okay, so this is so let's say I don't want to do I want to have two images on the left side. So what I've done here is this string of videos, these stills, that's going to be my left hand diptych, and the bottom stuff here is going to be my right hand diptych. And I'm going to, first, what we're going to do is we're going to make these two side-by-side videos, okay? So I'm going to click on this one, go to the effects. I'm going to tell it to, we're going to send this one right. So we're going to say position this at 2880, and we just know that from, and we're going to drop it 50%. That's 960 plus 1920. Okay, so we have that over there. Now what I'm going to do is right click on this motion word here, and I'm going to say copy. Okay, and now I'm going to apply that same thing to all of these videos, and I'm just going to hit Command V there. You saw those FX all go up. That means all of these now are over on the right hand side, and we're going to do a similar thing. I'm going to click on this. I have 4 kind of color mats here with text over them. That's what's going on here. I just wanted to show you something a little bit more complex than what I did last night. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shrink it down to 50%, and this is so we can see it side by side. And I'm going to shift it over to 960. Okay, and then what we're going to see here is that the color mat has gone over, but you can see the text has not. So we're going to do the same thing, and what I wanted to just show you is you can apply this easily to lots of things. I'm going to just do this one at a time. Now it's over, and now I'm going to select all of these, so you can select a whole bunch of stuff. Command V, and now everything here is synced up. So a thick business card is like a firm handshake. A difference that makes no difference. Okay, so it makes no sense. I don't know what it means, but let's say it's meaningful. Let's say I don't like this thing where the clouds are changing at exactly the same time. Let's say I want to have them change at double the speed. So I went to 5 seconds, and I'm going to have this one change. So there's a doubling here. Let's do the same thing here, and I'm at 10 seconds, gonna say plus 500. Now I'm at 15 seconds. You don't have to do it this way. I'm just showing you some different options. Okay, and now let's just say we're gonna take that and then gonna go to the end there. And so just like I was talking about last night, you really want to make sure you focus on having both your streams of video end at the same time. So I click the down arrow to go to the very last kind of the end of the sequence, and I'm going to hit the left arrow, and I should see all the videos there, and then I go right, and then everything ends. That's when you know you've got it. And then same thing for the beginning here. Everything starts at the same time. Okay, that there's video on both these tracks. Okay, so now so this is the thing. You would do something complex and interesting. This is just a demonstration. So I'm going to take this sequence now that we have it. Let's just say this is perfect. I've got this amazing thing, and I'm going to export it now. So the easy way to do this, the kind of way that I think is simple, is to duplicate that sequence once and call it left export. Call it anything you want, and then duplicate it again and call this one right export. Okay, so now when you double click that, we're working in the left export, and so I want this to be all of the text stuff. So now what I'm going to do is once I was using this sequence to get everything synchronized the way I want this conversation between the right and left hand sides. Once it's all set, I create a separate sequence and then just get rid of all the stuff that's on that right hand video monitor, and then put everything here back to full screen. Whoops. I do it once on one of them, and then I'll copy and paste this for everything. So 1920, right? Okay, so now we're going to copy this. It's just like the reverse of what we did before. I'll do all of these, copy, and then I'll do this, copy. Okay, so now you can check it. Firm handshake is a difference. That makes no difference. Perfect. Then we export this. One conversation that we could have is, maybe put your name in here. I think this would be a good practice. And then for right now, we'll just make everything 4K. If you have something that's HD, it's totally also fine. But try to have it be one of those two, and that would be great. So I'm just going to do a H.264 is totally good. And then export. Okay, so we've exported one. Now we're going to double click on the right export, and this time we're just going to do the opposite. Going to get rid of all the left stuff, and then we're going to change one and then change them all. Okay, motion. We're going to send this back to 1920 by 1080 and 100. Okay, copy this. This is one way to do things. I'm going to show you an alternative how we would do this with nesting and why in a separate video. Okay, so all of these things are now back to 100%. We can export this one in just the same way, and we're good to go. The goal is to have two synchronized, frame accurate, exactly the same time, two separate 4K or HD video files to come in with either on a drive or be accessible by class next week on Wednesday night. Okay, so email me if you have any questions at all. What content there is up to you. It doesn't, it's, have fun. That's the most important thing. Play around and try different kooky stuff that you'd like to see in some of those different formats that we looked at, either opposite, side by side, or kind of kitty cornered, or anything that you think is interesting. And I'll see you next week. Part 2, a different way to organize your diptych, and I'll just explain as I'm going through why this could be an option for you. Last night I mentioned nesting, and I wanted to show you why it's useful and how it can be used in these particular situations. And I didn't have a good case study ready to go, but I've whipped one up for you now that will hopefully make it more concrete of what the value of nesting can be for you. Okay, so just like I did before, and you can choose either way. There's no right or wrong way. It's what works better for what the footage that you have and what you want to mess with. Okay, so I have once again a left-hand track that's going to be, I'm going to just shut this off for a second so you can see. Just like before, we have this left-hand one that's going to be these colors that change every 10 seconds with some text. Now, I put a bunch of images of, this is a thick business card, is like a firm handshake, a difference that makes no difference, right? So what I thought would be funny is, what if I had a whole series of, if you look up like handshakes on firm handshake, I took the first, one of the text samples and just threw it into Google Images. And so I've got a bunch of images here. I'm going to just hide these for a second. I've got a bunch of images that came up, but they're all a different size here. And so if we were to do this the other way, where we were going to one at a time, there's not one simple copy and paste that's going to move everything over and scale it up. That's going to be, so we're going to be able to edit these side by side and have it make sense, right? So I'll just do it here. If I take this one and send it over to 960, see, it's a different, whoops, here we go, didn't mean 960, 2880, let's say these are all going to be on the right. See, I have this on the right, it just doesn't, everything's not great. So nesting can solve this issue and make, if you want to have everything be the same size and full screen and deal with all these different scaling things, nesting's going to be your friend. So I'm going to just quickly nest this one just so they're kind of in the same, you wouldn't really have to, but I just want to say text nest here just so you can see that. Now I'm going to do a nest here. I'm going to select all these, and then I'm going to look for where it says nest, and I'm going to say image nest. Essentially what nesting is think of it as a sequence within a sequence. So what I'm going to do is turn these back on. So here's our thick business card stuff. When you nested something, all you've got to do, if it's all full screen, to get it to go to the one side, you just take this whole sequence and say, I want the whole sequence to be pushed over to the left. And now every element that's in that sequence is going to have those same attributes because they were all the same. Okay, so now what I want to do is create with this image one a similar situation where everything's pushed over to the right, and everything is full screen, or like not, it will be full screen or takes up the entire portion of the right hand side. Okay, so I'm going to start with making this 2880, okay? And then I'm just going to go double click here, and now I'm going to, we're just within the image nest one, and I'm going to get these essentially to go full screen. I'm going to take this one off of the initial things I had done before and bring it back to center, 1920. Okay, so everything is centered here. They're just all different shapes. So now all you need to do is just scale this up. Let's say I want this to be like 1,000. I'm gonna just plunk it in there. Oh, it's still, let's say I really want that to be filling the whole screen here, and I'm gonna like lower it so we kind of focus more on these two. Now at this point, you can actually put a kind of motion effect on that and have that go from, you know, low to high or something like that, and just kind of set that up. And I'm going to do the same thing here, where we have for this one, we will just scale this up. Okay, see, I can willy-nilly do this and it doesn't matter. Okay, I got it. Okay, that's looking good. Now I'm going to just go back and compare these side by side. And so what I haven't done yet is turn this image nest, the sequence, to 50% here. So when we do that, now you see they're all side by side and everything's perfect, right? And you just continue on with making these fill up. Let's just go back. We'll just do one more. See, this is it's not really great here. It's this weird size. I'm going to scale it up. So nesting lets you kind of have all these varying types of video footage, but if you want it to all kind of be the same, and then still be able to kind of see it side by side. I got a little bit more to do over here on this one, so it allows you to see, it wasn't quite at the edge there. Okay, this should be better. Okay, so this is just why you would want to use nesting. That's all I'm trying to show you here. So then, once you've created this sequence, you can do a similar thing where you, I have this sequence is called image, let's get rid of this image nest. Sequence 1. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate sequence 1 and call it left export nest. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate sequence 1 again, right export nest. Okay, so now I'm gonna just find my left one, double click. Okay, so now we're just working on the left. That's going to be the this text here. As you know, we're just going to send that back to 100, back to 1920, and we're ready to export this. Okay, for the other one, just so you can see how that works. Okay, so now this is the right one. These sequences, like I said before, they don't take up a lot of space, so you can have lots of them. That just doesn't work. Make sure your naming conventions are good and you'll be set. So I'm going to select the sequence within the right export nest, and then just make this 100% and all centered. And now you'll see a full screen version of your nested one too. Okay, you would continue on to make all of these kind of normal, so they fill up the whole screen. Does that make sense? And so you just export both of these now. Once again, you want to have two exported HD or 4K videos that are synchronized to the same time. Any time is good, like 40 seconds to 5 minutes. I wouldn't go much more than 5 minutes. Okay, that ends the thing for today. Hope that's helpful. Like I said, email me if you have absolutely any questions or are confused, and I'm happy to meet with you or just respond to hopefully clarify any of this stuff. Talk to you later. Bye.